For many individuals in the world, social anxiety is more than a notable disorder. The effects and the outcomes that are brought upon by the chronic mental health condition ends up becoming an unwanted lifestyle. And as much as one wants to overcome their problem, it seems merely impossible when tasked to do so. To me, Bocchi the Rock, a fall 2022 anime, does an amazing job capturing and portraying that extreme social anxiety through the works of visual art. In the recent years, we've had many other beloved anime films that themed around conditional issues, such as Komi Can't Communicate, A Silent Voice, and many more. However, it seemed all new to have a show utilize music and comedy to construct a phenomenally loved film revolving around the concept of social anxiety, and most importantly, growth. I think that's why Bocchi the Rock, at first glance, can be deemed as unique. The fundamental premise of the series is about a girl named Hitori Goto who faces extreme social anxiety. Starting at a very young age, Hitori suffered from the dreads of social phobia. Her inability to converse with her peers often led her to play alone, eat alone, and essentially do everything all by herself. Following that, her inability to communicate with her fellow peers led her life all the way up to high school, with Hitori having no one to call a friend except her family. However, it wasn't that she didn't want to have friends. She simply couldn't withstand the pressure of communicating with others as she contained zero to no confidence. But all that takes a turn when she one day finds out about the existence of bands, specifically rock bands. Motivated to work towards her desire to break out of her shell, she self-teaches herself the guitar for 6 hours a day, only to later realize that she is still the same person as before. But thankfully for Hitori, a positively outgoing girl named Nijika Ijichi invites Hitori to become a part of her band called the Kesoku Band, and things start to take a turn. And with that, later comes two other notable faces of the show. Ryo Yamada, an experienced and cool bassist, and Ikuyo Kita, a newbie guitarist and the main vocalist of the team. As the show continues, the four embark on their journey to become a band. Now, enough of the plot, let's talk about our primary focus, Hitori Goto. One of the main reasons as to why Bocchi the Rock rose so quickly in popularity is due to the fact that Hitori's character can be so relatable to us. In terms of the story, there definitely is some implementation of exaggeration in order to raise the comedic aspect of the film, but it also mixes a part of reality in order to highlight the importance of Hitori's relatability. Social anxiety can be a real pain, especially because it's not by choice that one endures such conditions. Even with Hitori, this does not come by choice, but rather by nature of her personality. But something important to note in this situation is that Hitori yearns for change. Although her public self may be of an obstacle for that change to occur smoothly, deep inside, she knows that she wants to change. The beauty of this anime comes from the fact that the main character doesn't remain to be the character she is, but rather shows the audience about the process and the courageous steps forward in order to become more of the ideal person that Hitori, our main character, wants to be. This not only could spark motive and strive for those watching, but it also definitely serves as an inspiration to allow others in our reality to really take that step forward for that change. Because at the end, there is no reward without a risk. Throughout the story, Hitori goes through many different changes. She not only finds a band that she needs to perform live with, but also decides to work with her bandmates in order to save money to partake in a show using quotes. Like everything in life, no one is able to become better by simply wanting to be better. With effort comes practice, and with practice comes results. Although it may not seem like it to some, and even for Hitori herself, the effort that Hitori is pouring into her desire for change helps develop personal growth within her. She practices the guitar to become better, she tries hard to communicate with her customers during work, and she even gathers the courage to perform live both with her band and by herself. All this couldn't have been done without the will to want to change, as well as gathering the courage to do so. Seriously, Hitori lacks a lot of courage, which is pretty devastating as it closes all potential openings for her to make a change happen. But with her team and her constant practices and efforts, she slowly musters up courage and shows that even her, whom goes through so much with social anxiety, can grow to be different when the will and the belief is there. The beauty of this show is exactly that. The audience builds a sense of connection with the primary character and start developing a level of sympathy. Hitori Goto is a character that was purposefully designed to allow for that relation with our reality. The problems that she faces are often things that people in our reality face, and that relatability develops a bond that allows us, as the audience, to become more dwelled and invested into the show. Honestly speaking, Bocchi the Rock does an amazing job replicating a realistic problem people face in our reality. Social anxiety is certainly not something easy to talk about because socially anxious individuals are unable to communicate openly and willingly without being in modern fear. To touch upon such a sensitive topic and making that into a relatable and comedic show, Bocchi the Rock serves a greater purpose for the audience than simply being an animated show. It's really the connection and relatability that allows the audience to not only enjoy the show, but to also feel a compelling reason to both continue the series whilst cheering for our aspiring girls striving to be a successful band, the Kesaku band. I know how much anime has evolved and changed throughout the years, but it still makes me speechless when I realize how realistic something so fictional can be. It's truly a blessing to be able to witness such a beauty. I know it's weird to say that anime feels so human, but I feel like it's the best way to put it. Ranging from each of the characters' personalities, traits, and interactions, it's expressed in such ways that make the animation genuinely realistic. Realism is something we often lack when watching fictional stories due to it being fictional. But this show felt different. There was so much level of relatability that helps us make connections and references to our lives today, and it felt more so like a film for healing because of its subtle sense of putting reality into a comedic reference. This anime was definitely something I needed, and it might even be the anime of the year for me. To speak about my final thoughts. As I watched each episode with its premieres, there was a lot about growth that I was able to actually somewhat make a connection with. Although I do experience very mild social anxiety, it's definitely not to the degree of how Hitori faces hers. But something that felt so special about Hitori was really her non-stop desire for the wanted change. Starting from having no friends to becoming the star of a band. It's really not something easy to do. I think after having watched the show, I definitely felt that I needed to muster more courage if there was something that I wanted to yearn for in my life. Things in life feel impossible at times, and the process is often assumed to be easy. But yet again, I am reminded that obstacles are natural in life, and that achieving something might take a lot of time and effort, but that it can eventually be achieved if I don't give up and fully believe that it's possible till the end. We can all agree that we make mistakes, but to realize that mistakes don't mean the end is something that we should all keep in mind. To me, when a show teaches morals that serve as reminders for me to utilize in the reality, it's truly a gem to take note of. Bocchi the Rock does exactly that in a way that you can only understand after having to watch the show for yourself. Oh, and as for the music, which I'll touch upon more deeply in a different video, it's great. Seriously, they're all hits. Now, that's it for the video. If you have or had any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comment section below. I read and reply to every comment. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.